Part of the function of the panel in considering this application and determining it, if they believe it will be approved, is to also agree to a set of conditions. These days, approvals for these types of facilities, what I mean by that, designated development, those types of activities which have the potential to have a significant environmental impact, tend to have very comprehensive and rigorous conditions of consent, which often require things like environmental audits to be submitted on a regular basis, which demonstrate that the applicants in their operations are honouring the commitments made in the EIS and which have been reinforced through the conditions of consent.
Given the fact that Jervis Bay and its hinterland attracts tourism income of some $600 million per year, largely because of its image as a clean, green and pristine destination, one of the world's most beautiful destinations, the EIS predicts a job tally of 5 extra jobs for the area as a result of this landfill operation. Why did the EIS address the possible damage to the tourism industry and loss of far more jobs as a result of the changing image of the area as a result of a grotesque landfill site being established in its area?
Answer to that question, I'll ask the applicant to respond.
Just very briefly, the 5 jobs nominated in the EIS are the full-time jobs when the project is operational. There clearly will be probably 50 jobs generated during the construction phase.
What about all the businesses?
There's already jobs generated in the region from the people that have been working on the EIS, for instance. In terms of the 5 jobs, yes, it is only 5 jobs, but I think probably 5 jobs is better than no jobs.
Okay, thank you. The lady here.
With us coming into the summer period and our high fire danger, what in the future have we got guaranteed that it won't go up? I mean, we remember 2001, and if there's going to be highly toxic and volatile material there, Tomerong got it very badly during the fires. Now the thing is, if it catches on fire, it's one of these things that burn for months. They burn for years. And the thing is, any water that comes off that, it won't be able to cope going down into these ponds that they say, as well as our area. You've got to remember in that roundabout, that Island Point Road, is supposedly the IGA complex going to be built. Now they're talking about 1,000 truck deliveries a week. Big trucks, semi-trailer trucks. Now that's coming onto that same roundabout. Now that's coming back in off the highway. It just seems that our roads just can't cope.
Sort of 2 questions there, thank you for that. I wonder if the applicant might just talk to the first part of it in terms of fire retardation.
I mentioned during the presentation the need and requirement for a licence for this facility, and the need within the licence, or for the application for the licence, to have a landfill environmental management plan. Those plans cover and have to cover these issues. They're generated from the landfill guidelines put out by the EPA. They're significant in number. I think there's about 50 benchmark techniques that have to be adhered to, and of course one of them is fire management and control. So in terms of that, yes, it would have to be managed to prevent that happening.
Okay, the gentleman here with the...
Looking after and monitoring this proposed tip, are they going to do any better job than the job that is being done at South Nowra at the recycling plant, where tons and tons of mud is placed on the highway at a danger to every vehicle that goes through there in wet weather, and nothing is ever done about it? Why should we trust the council, or indeed any other department, to do a better job than they're doing now?
Mr. Fletcher is admitted to this one.
With respect to the mud, my understanding is the mud came from construction vehicles associated with the building of the jail. But in terms of the brickworks quarry, I suppose in terms of what council's doing about it. You may not be aware that council's in the middle of a fairly substantial court case where we're actually trying to limit the output of that quarry at this point of time because we are not happy with the way it's being run. That is an example of what we're prepared to do to try and make people comply. In the final analysis, if people don't comply with their conditions, we can serve orders, we can write letters, we have to take them to court. And the court will make a judgment on what they need to do, and if necessary, we prosecute and they are fined, and that way we get compliance.
For coming tonight, I think it's nice to put a face to what to this point has really been a bit of a faceless applicant. And I guess I get the sense from what's been said here tonight and from what I've seen looking through the EIS, I get the sense that it really is quite a flimsy EIS, and there's some almost apologies for the state of the EIS tonight, and there's lots of things that have to be followed on to make it satisfactory. But what I'm beginning to think is that kind of you're putting your toe in the water to test it, and I hope you're finding it's really boiling hot, and you'll pull it out and think of something else. My question is, my question of you, Mr. Newman, is as the mind behind the application, and I guess there's others of you as well, and we don't know who they are, but as the mind behind the application, can you tell me, have you considered any other ways that you might have done this in a more locally appropriate, tourism-focused? You know, I think of many, many things throughout the world where old quarries have been filled with wondrous things like the Bouchard Gardens, the Eden Project in Cornwall, all sorts of things that could have been done with the whole. I understand the need to remediate the whole, but I guess what we're being proposed is like putting Menai in Bondi, you know, or Lucas Heights. So please.
Thanks very much for your question, and believe it or not, it is a pleasure to be here. And
Is that on?
can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, I'm not playing tricks on you. First of all, I'd like to explain that I'm a 50% shareholder in Tomerong Waste, and a couple of years ago we acquired Tomerong Quarry. That is our company, 100%. So I'm the sole director of Tomerong Quarry and one of the two directors of Tomerong Waste. We run a family business based in Newcastle called SCE Group. We've been operating since 1961. We do a lot of major work with BlueScope Steel and BHP Billiton, and we also have a resources arm to our company. So privately held, stable equity base, and we've been around for a long time. I'd have to say that I don't think it is a flimsy EIS, and what I can tell you is that we've run a number of large emplacements for major companies, and we're used to doing this type of work. And when I look at the site, I realise that none of you want an emplacement of any kind to take place at Tomerong, but from my experience, the site should be rehabilitated and is very well suited for this purpose. And I think that whilst...
Let's listen to the answer, thank you.
So, as I said, I've had experience with community groups that don't like the work that we are doing. And I've had great experience at West Dapto with emplacements at West Dapto, and that was a pretty hot scene. And I think our company, if you spoke with the West Dapto community people, would be given quite a good reference from those groups. And I think it's a very manageable site, and I think that there's a need for the purpose, and I think that we can manage it very well and very safely.
Okay, down the front here, sir.